Hi, Samantha. So you want to figure out what your resonance structure is on the right. And one of the clues are the charges that are drawn. So you should be able to figure out how many bonds are appropriate for an N+, how many lone pairs are appropriate for an N+, and for an O-. So for example, for an O-, I can't draw very well here, but I should have 3 lone pairs and 1 bond. And for nitrogen, my stylus isn't very good. How many lone pairs and bonds should a nitrogen plus have? Well, 4 bonds and no lone pairs. So to get to that, you ought to be able to essentially figure out what your resonance structure on the right is. Then the second part of the question is, how do you do your arrow pushing to get there? So how did I go from having a nitrogen with a lone pair and 2 bonds to having a nitrogen with a plus and 3 bonds? Oxygen having 2 lone pairs to having 3 lone pairs and a negative charge. So you ought to be able to do your arrows on those. Trying to look at the problem. Add curved arrows in the box on the left. Okay, so in the box on the left, you're trying to show how the electrons that were originally in this left picture might be rearranging, ending up the way that they look on the right. And I don't know how to do this without giving it away. Let me just make up another one for an example. So suppose that I had something like this. I can't draw very well on my iPad. If I'd had the picture, then in trying to explain how the electrons change from the left picture to the right picture, I would draw my arrow in the left box. And then to explain how they went back from the right box to get back to the left, the oxygen is going from being the bottom right oxygen from being 2 bonded 1 lone pair would get the 3rd lone pair, become negative by accepting an electron pair, and the top oxygen would go from being negative with 3 lone pairs to 2 lone pairs. Okay, so that's kind of I'm just trying using my iPad for this, but not necessarily the greatest. Okay, good luck with that.